What is going on, guys? Welcome to the NHL January the 16th betting market video. Let's take a look at the Bruins Devils market. So this game has already started. It was an early start, 1 p.m. Eastern time. The Bruins open minus 184. The line only moves slightly to minus 182. 58% of bettors, 58% of the money is on the Bruins. So that's pretty much a 50-50 split, considering minus 182 and 58% are fairly close together. The over-under, a little bit of a different story. So this game opened at 5.5, still at 5.5. Juice favored the over slightly. 78% of bettors helped push that juice up 2 points, but the under for this game had 64% of bets. So it looks like sharp bettors were on the under, considering only 22% of bettors took the under. However, 64% of the money on the under. But it's interesting to see that sharps are on the under and the juice moved towards the over 2 points. And then on to the puck line, where the Bruins opened at minus 1.5, still at minus 1.5 is when they closed. It went from plus 135 to plus 138. 39% of bettors were on the Bruins, but 79% of the money. So the book's taking some exposure there on the Bruins, winning by 2 or more on the road. So the best result for the books would be a small Bruins win or a Devils loss by 6 or more goals total. On to the Sharks Coyotes game, 643 bets so far, 4 p.m. Eastern time start. This game is going to be starting in about an hour and a half. The Coyotes open minus 126. They are still only at minus 129, despite receiving 59% of bets and 94% of the money. The OU for this game, it opened at 5.5. There has been a slight move on the juice towards the over from minus 106 to minus 115. 86% of bettors and 59% of the money has helped push that juice up on the over from minus 106 to minus 115. And then on to the puck line. It is a fairly even market here. So Sharks open at plus 1.5, minus 212. The juice moved up to minus 213. 25% of bettors on the Sharks, but 75% of the money is on the Sharks, but they are fairly large favorites, so it's quite even. There's a little bit more exposure on the Coyotes here, as far as if you had to add up the puck line and the money line. So there might be a little bit more value in taking the Sharks on the money line, despite that line moving against the Sharks. But either way, not a ton of value in that game. Next up, we have the Islanders Rangers, the Battle of New York. 529 bets so far. Islanders open at minus 113. They've been bet up to minus 117. 52% of bettors and 91% of the money. It's interesting to see on these last two games that 94% of the money came in on the Coyotes, 91% of the money came in on the Islanders, and this line only moved a couple points. On to the OU. It opened at 5.5. This game got bet up to 6. However, though, you see the juice at over 5.5 is minus 123, and then the juice on the under 6 is minus 113. So it's kind of waffling between that 5.5, 6 range. Either way, 81% of bettors and 86% of the money has helped push this OU total up from 5.5 to 6, which is interesting to note. And the puck line for this game has moved in the Islanders' favor, so they open at minus 1.5 at plus 201. It's been bet down to plus 192. 49% of bettors and 76% of the money is on the Islanders' puck line. So the book's taking quite a bit of exposure here on the Islanders. If they do win at plus 192 or plus 201, or win the game by 2 or more goals, so the books have to pay out essentially 2-1 to 76% of that money. It's going to be a hefty loss for the books. So look for the Rangers to either lose by 1 or possibly win this game outright. Next up, we have an all-Canadian matchup between the Montreal Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers. This line hasn't moved. It's pretty much even there. You can see the juice minus 104 to minus 106. The minus 106 in favor of the Oilers. 58% of bettors and 80% of the money has come in on the Oilers, and it hasn't moved that line for the Oilers at all. So interesting to note that despite the percentage of bets and the percentage of money favoring the Oilers, the line has actually not moved in the Oilers' favor. It has actually stayed on point. So these are markets in other sports where I would look for these opportunities where the books are willing to take more exposure, more risk on Edmonton. So I would be willing to lean towards the Montreal Canadiens in a game like this. The OU opened at 6.5, still at 6.5, but the juice has moved on the under from -109 to -114. 12% of bets on the under. However, 97% of the money is on the under. So like Fat Guy said, who knows how much stock you can put in when the bet percentage and money percentages are of a discrepancy this big. But there is the case that there might be a few very sharp bettors or a whale possibly that has bet this under, and the juice has moved in favor of the under. So possibly a good time to take the under, but it's interesting though. There's so many ways you can look into these markets and read into them. So I'm here to just report on what I see and let you guys know if I find something interesting. Next up, we have Edmonton open at +1.5 at -248. The juice pushed up to -254. 33% of bettors, 85% of the money. Not a ton to talk about there. On to the Hurricanes Red Wings. Hurricanes open -217, bet up to -224 as road favorites. 90% of bettors on the Hurricanes. Unfortunately, we don't have the money percentages for that game. But 90% of bets is a hefty amount of bets for the Hurricanes, who are essentially 2-1 favorites. The OU open at 5.5. The juice is pushed up on the over to -123. 56% of bettors. However, only 46% of the money is on the over at 5.5. And then for the puck line, the Hurricanes opened at +119 as 2-goal favorites. And if they score 2 or more now, it pays out at +108 currently on that puck line. 53% of bettors are on the Hurricanes. 99% of the money on the Hurricanes. Tony, there is a member video that I put out yesterday, but not anything today yet on the NFL. Maple Leafs Sens 529 bets. The Maple Leafs open -209, bet down to -200. 28% of bets are on the Leafs. However, 87% of the money. So the book's taking some exposure there on the Leafs, looking like there could be some value on the Senators' money line. The OU open at 6.5. It's still at 6.5. Juice has favored the under. 31% of bets on the under. 60% of the money on the under is probably what is pushing that juice down to -111. And then the puck line has favored the Senators, +1.5 from -128 up to -137. 67% of bettors and 20% of the money is on the Senators. So books definitely taking in a lot more bets on the Maple Leafs, and the line has moved in the Senators' favor. So very interesting to note there that there could be contrarian value on the Senators. 4 games left. Next up, we have the Blue Jackets Predators, 453 bets. Preds open -116, bet down to -111, despite receiving 75% of the money, which is interesting to note. So more money coming in on the Preds and the line moving in the Blue Jackets' favor. Let's take a look at the OU, 5.5, still 5.5. The juice has favored the over, going from even to -109. Interesting to note here that the juice on the over has pushed up 9 points from even to -109, despite 97% of the money being placed on the under in that game. The puck line, Preds open at -1.5 at +200, still -1.5 at +204. So quite a bit of exposure here on the Predators on both sides, despite the lines moving in the Blue Jackets' favor. Next up, we have the Wild Kings. Wild open -141, bet up to -143. 46% of bets and 77% of the money has helped push that line up just a couple points towards the Wild. The OU open at 5.5. The over -107 has been bet down to plus or to even. 57% of money, or 57% of bets on the over. 97% of the money on the over, despite the juice moving in the under's favor. And then for the Puck line. The puck line has moved in the Kings' favor from minus 192 to minus 200. 57% of bettors and 63% of the money is on the Kings. So that's pretty even there as far as the money breakdown compared to the actual odds and payout. And then the second last game of the night is the Ducks Golden Knights game. Golden Knights open minus 221, bet up to minus 226. 97% of bettors on the Knights. Not much else to report there. The OU for this game opened at 6, still at 6. Juice hasn't moved very much. 89% of bets on the over, 90% of the money on the under. With so little bets being on this game, still really hard to read into what this is going to actually settle at by puck drop. And then the puck line, it hasn't moved much as well. I will say, though, 91% of the bets are on the Ducks to cover that 1.5 point spread, and 95% of the money is on the Golden Knights to win by 2 or more goals. The final game of the night, my Vancouver Canucks taking on the Calgary Flames. The line has moved in Calgary's favor on the money line from minus 126 to minus 140. It says that 43% of bets are on the Flames and 99% of the money is on the Flames. I'm sure it's not going to be like that at puck drop, so it'll be interesting to see where that market actually finishes when we hit puck drop. Only 491 bets so far. There's probably going to be just over 1,000 bets on this game, so there still is some room for change before puck drop. The OU open at 6. It's a bet up to 6.5. You see at 6, the juice favored the over. At 6.5, the juice favors the under. So this is one of those games that's going to waffle between that 6 and 6.5, depending on where bets come in. It's interesting to note, though, that the OU pushed up to 6.5, despite 71% of bets and 82% of the money being put on the under. As the fat guy always likes to say, he's curious to see if that money and those bets came in when the OU was at 6 or if the OU was at 6.5. His guess is always 6.5, and that sharp bettors are on there, but it's hard to know. Unfortunately, we don't know unless you're following the market every single minute and watching how these markets change. And then for the puck line in this game, it has moved in Calgary's favor. So for them to win by 2 or more goals, plus 178 down to plus 167, 33% of bets, and 98% of the money is on the Flames to win by 2 or more goals with a hefty payout of plus 167. So there is a lot of money coming in on the Flames and the under early on in that matchup. Guys, that is it for the NHL betting market for January the 16th. Good luck in your NHL wagers.